Security researcher Brian Wallace was on the trail of hackers who snatched a California university's housing files when he stumbled upon a potential nightmare. We examine the current state of U.S. grid security. And just prior to her keynote address at HydroVision 2015, I catch up with Chandra Brown, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Manufacturing with the International Trade Administration. Power Today for Monday, December 28th begins in a moment. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to Power Today for Monday, December 28th. I'm Cassie Haley. Though it may be bad form to interrupt this season with something somber, we're dedicating today's news block to a subject that is both frightening and not discussed often enough: grid security. Our story begins with Cylance security researcher Brian Wallace, who was on the trail of hackers who had snatched a California university's housing files when he stumbled upon the fact that cyber attackers had opened a pathway into the networks running the United States power grid. Digital clues pointed to Iranian hackers. Wallace discovered they had already taken passwords as well as engineering drawings of dozens of power plants. These drawings were so detailed, experts say, they could have been used to knock out electricity flowing to millions of homes. Amazing as this may sound, according to the Associated Press, this breach was not unique. Experts report that about a dozen times in the last decade, sophisticated foreign hackers have gained remote access to operations networks. The public almost never learns the details about these types of attacks. Information about the government's response to these hacks is often protected and sometimes classified. In fact, many are never even reported to the government. These intrusions have not caused the cascading blackouts feared by the intelligence community, but so many attackers have infiltrated the systems that run the electric grid that experts say they likely have the capability to strike at will. And that's what most worries Wallace and other cybersecurity experts. Robert M. Lee, a former U.S. Air Force cyber warfare operations officer, reports, if the geopolitical situation changes and Iran wants to target these facilities, if they have this kind of information, it will make it a lot easier. It will also help them stay quiet and stealthy inside. Many of the substations and equipment that move power across the U.S. were not built with network security in mind. Hooking the plants up to the internet over the last decade has given hackers new backdoors in. Distant wind farms, home solar panels, smart meters, and other network devices are remotely monitored and controlled, which opens the broader system to fresh points of attack. In addition, hundreds of contractors sell software and equipment to energy companies, and attackers use those companies as a way to get inside networks tied to the grid. Private firms have alleged recent hacks of networks and machinery were carried out by teams from within Russia and China, some with governmental support. A top Homeland Security official recently told industry officials that even the Islamic State group is trying to hack American power companies. Because the grid is largely privately owned and has entire sections that fall outside federal regulation, experts argue the industry remains poorly defended against a growing universe of hackers seeking to access its networks. As Deputy Energy Secretary Elizabeth Sherwood Randall said in a speech earlier this year, if we don't protect the energy sector, we are putting every other sector of the economy in peril. Cyber attacks designed to steal information are steadily growing in scope and frequency. There have been high-profile hacks of Target, eBay, and federal targets such as the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. But assaults on the power grid and other critical infrastructure aim to go a step further. Well-funded adversaries can gain control of physical assets, power plants, substations, and transmission equipment. It is even possible to knock out the electricity vital to daily life, the economy, and endanger the flow of power to mass transportation and military installations. Because it would take enormous expertise to plunge a city or region into darkness, some say threats to the grid are overstated, especially by those who get paid to help companies protect their networks. Even those who said the risk of cyber threats can be exaggerated agree it is certainly possible for cyber attackers to cause large-scale disruption. Traditional central power stations and transmission systems include equipment that is old and physically unable to handle electronic threats. Some machines use software that is so outdated that malware protections don't exist. At the Tennessee Valley Authority, a corporation owned by the federal government that powers 9 million households in the southeastern U.S., a former operations security expert said in recent years he saw passwords for some key operating systems stored on sticky notes. The rush to tie smart meters, home programmable thermostats, and other smart appliances to the grid is also causing fresh vulnerabilities. About 45% of homes in the U.S. are hooked up to smart meters. Those meters are relatively simple by design, but their security is flimsy. Researchers say some can be hacked by plugging in an adapter that costs $30 on eBay. Okay, that's enough scary info for now. We pledge to keep you informed as this story develops. Chandra Brown is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Manufacturing with the International Trade Administration. We caught up with her at the HydroVision conference where she filled us in on what the ITA has been focused on. Power Spotlight is up next after a short break. Stay with us. Hello, I'm Cassie Haley, host of the Power News and Information show, Power Today. I would like to introduce you to the Pinwell Hub app, which is designed from the ground up with your power intelligence needs in mind. Head to the App Store to download the free Pinwell Hub app, and you can start enjoying all the great content today. Ready to bring your specific power interest directly to your mobile device? Put the world of power at your fingertips with the Pinwell Hub app. Welcome back. Prior to her keynote address at HydroVision 2015, I caught up with Chandra Brown, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Manufacturing with the International Trade Administration. Here's today's Power Spotlight. Hi, I'm Cassie Haley with Power Today, and I'm standing here with Chandra Brown, one of the keynote speakers here at HydroVision 2015. She is with the U.S. Department of Commerce of International Trade Administration. Chandra, will you tell me a little bit about your role within the Department of Commerce?
Absolutely. I am the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Manufacturing with the International Trade Administration, and it is such a pleasure to be here. I'm actually leading an international delegation that we have of buyers that are visiting HydroVision because we're so interested in U.S.-made products and services, as we know that they are the best in the world.
That is wonderful. So for hydro manufacturers here on the exhibit floor, they have a unique opportunity this year.
Absolutely. We have delegations from as diverse countries as Mexico and Brazil and Ethiopia. So we are just so excited to show off the products and services that we have here.
So would you say, that, Chandra, that the hydropower world is growing more here nationally, or would you say that the borders internationally are more of an opportunity?
That's a fabulous question. And while we always love our domestic buying power, the reality is over 95% of the world's consumers are outside the borders of the United States. And we know that is where the growth for hydropower and many of the other renewable energies are. So we think our U.S. companies must be looking internationally as well as domestically in our own borders. And in fact, I can give you guys late breaking news just today.
We love late breaking news.
Late breaking news, this is literally today.
Okay.
We are releasing from the U.S. Department of Commerce our 2015 top market report for renewable energy. This will help companies know where to go, where we think the best markets in the world are for them to export their amazing American-made products to.
That's wonderful news. Now, will the delegates here receive a copy of this here at HydroVision?
They can, and we'll also have it up on our website, which is www.trade.gov/top markets.
That's wonderful. Chandra, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule here to visit with us. We appreciate it. That's going to wrap things up for us on Pinwell Hub's Power Today. If you want to bring your specific power interest directly to your computer, register for Pinwell Hub at hubs.biz/power. I'm Cassie Haley for Power Today. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon, 11 Central.